This is Evan Bundy at the Bell Garden, and today we're going to learn about our method for bed preparation. So you can turn the camera behind me right here. You can see our field. It's kind of like split in half. So back in November, we actually put a tarp down right here, which killed all the weeds back. So if you have time to wait, if you're patient enough, that's one of the easiest ways you can start a garden just on bare lawn. Just put a tarp down, wait for the weeds to die, and you're not going to have to be pulling weeds later when we're using our broad fork here, which is the next first step in bed preparation here. This is basically an oversized garden fork. It has these 16-inch spikes which go into the ground, and this tool is special because it loosens soil without flipping it. So it preserves all the layers of soil that we want. Everything, all the organisms that live under here are going to be undisturbed, and they're going to be better suited to doing the work they do in the soil naturally, decomposing, breaking things down, and building our fertility. So basically all we do with this tool is we stick it in the ground, and using these long arms, which provide leverage, we pull back, and it loosens the soil. And that not only gets this bed ready for planting, but it also loosens up any kind of weeds that are going to be on the soil surface, so they're super easy to pull. Which is good, but you can also tarp it and just kind of get rid of all that work ahead of time. So we're going to go to the next step. All right. Once you've broad forked the length of your bed space, we're just going to take some compost. We use mushroom compost, which is the leftover stuff mushroom farmers use to grow their mushrooms in. So it's full of fungal and microbial activity, tons of good stuff in here. That's super healthy for our plants. So if you're using new dirt, some compost is really good to add some nutrition to the soil. And we're just going to put some on every few feet or so. Once that is done, we can take our hard rake and we'll just smooth the compost out so it makes an even layer over the soil so everybody gets the same amount of stuff. Just going to spread it out really even all the way to the end. Right, okay. Ready? Once you have your compost set down on your bed, we're going to take our cultivator here. It's basically a metal claw, and we're going to bring in the sides of the bed. We're going to try and mix up the compost we just threw down with the existing soil, kind of mix it a little bit. We're going to go down both sides and kind of pile the soil down up into the middle of the bed. Okay, so once we've cultivated both sides of the bed, we've kind of made this little mountain here. We're going to take the flat side of our rake. We're just going to smooth out the bed that we made. Make a nice flat surface for the plants. And all this fluffing that we did with the cultivator, it's also going to add a couple of inches of height to the bed, which actually makes the plants think that they're deeper than they really are. Plant roots like to go deep into the ground. And since the bed is raised a little bit, they think that they're actually doing something that they're not. So raising the bed up improves the drainage as well and gives us a nice fluffy layer to work with on the top. So just go forward one way, then go back the other way until the bed is nice and flat in the shape that you want it. So, depending on what you're planting, there's two different ways we can go once the bed is finished. So, if you have transplants to put directly in the ground, you can go ahead and put mulch on top of your bed and then move the mulch out of the way and put the transplants in. But if you want to start some plants from seed, we can take this tool or any kind of sharp point that's going to make a trench in your soil and just kind of mark the space where your seeds are going to go. try and do this. It's gardening, it's not rocket science. We're just gonna eyeball 2 trenches. So today we're going to be planting carrots in these beds. And you can see these seeds are very, very small. So we want to be careful that each carrot gets the space that it needs. And carrots are actually really resilient because if they run out of space, they're just going to push each other out of the way. So we just want to sprinkle these seeds all the way down the bed, kind of like seasoning. You know, you don't want too many in one spot, but you don't want a seed too thin either. So we're just going to go along the length of the bed, running the seeds between our fingers until we get to the very end. And once your seeds are planted, all you have to do is just cover them up. They don't need to be too deep usually. Usually seeds kind of like a little less resistance when they're germinating, so they can get to the sunlight faster and start doing their photosynthesis as soon as possible. So after we've sown our carrot seeds, the last step in making a garden bed is putting a little mulch on top. Now for the carrots, we only do it so thick. See, we can still see the soil underneath. And we do this because we want light to reach the carrot seeds once they start sprouting and making leaves. So this mulch is mostly just to keep the moisture in the soil. It's not really meant to block the weeds right now. But yeah, follow all of these easy steps and you can start a garden bed with nothing but your bare lawn.